I want to thank everyone for joining me today. I'm excited to share this information with you today. We're going to talk about how we can enter the next school year with focus and with passion, and the title is Making Up for Lost Time. I want to thank you for joining me. The purpose of the session is to establish key protocols to help us restart school in our new reality. My goal is to place you on a trajectory of success by framing your work holistically and defining the areas we really need to focus on in the upcoming year. To do this, I'm going to introduce you to two key acronyms that will guide your efforts. Now, the first acronym is for the macro or the big picture, and that acronym is called SOFT, S-O-F-T. The next acronym is for the micro. These are the details, the areas we want to really focus on, and that acronym is called S-A-M-E, SAME. Now, before we move forward in our journey, I want to set your mind. I want us to have the right mindset. We don't want a panicked mindset. Oh no, our kids aren't ready. They're 4 months behind. There's a 2021 state test. We're doomed. We don't need that, because children model what they see. If they see panic, they will be panicked. We want to keep it simple. This is the frame of mind we want you to have for today and moving into our next year. We are simply establishing our new norms for our new normal. We're establishing new norms for our new normal. So let's talk about starting the year. Anyone who tells you they're an expert on how to open schools after a worldwide pandemic that literally shut down the entire planet is probably not telling you the truth. Everybody's gone through changes. The way we communicate, the way we interact with each other, the way we do our jobs, everything's changed. So we all feel a bit out of sorts. So don't feel bad if you feel that way. My point is, we can do this. While this is a new phenomenon for us, there are experts who can help you manage and thrive through major changes and major tragedies. And I hope that I'm one of those experts. Now, today's key sources of information come from peer-reviewed research in the area of resilience. I did my dissertation on resilience. Another key source of information is Standing in the Gap. That's a book I wrote, a guide to using the same framework to create excellent schools. And another frame of reference or source of information is from The Kids Left Behind, Catching Up Underachieving Children of Poverty. And lastly, and this is a little bit interesting, we had a chance as an organization to work with some of the most outstanding principals in the United States post-Katrina. And some of what I'm sharing from you is from them, lessons learned after Katrina. Now, I know Katrina and COVID are very, very different. One is pretty much a regional phenomenon. The other is worldwide, but there are some similarities. Both were so devastating that they impacted students, parents, teachers, administrators, counselors, everyone. And we've had massive separation from schools. Now, when we talk about opening the school, I love acronyms because they allow your brain to process and remember more information. That's why I use a lot of them, so get used to it, guys. The first acronym for starting in the year and focusing our efforts is SOFT, S-O-F-T. Let's pretend you are falling down Mount Coronavirus. What do you want? You want a soft landing, S-O-F-T. So when we think soft, this is the macro picture. Again, this is our modus operandi. The S is for strategic. We want to be strategic in our efforts. The O is for optimistic. The F is for focused. And the T is for tenacious. Now, in terms of being strategic, you must have a detailed plan that anticipates change. There's some things that we can't control. But one thing we can control is the way we react to the things that come to us. We might have another outbreak. We might need to extend our day. We might have to provide virtual and traditional classrooms simultaneously. Again, we have to be strategic in our planning, and our plan must anticipate change. We also need to be optimistic. Attitude is everything. Please, 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 whether you feel this way or not, act as if you are glad to see the kids and for each other for that matter, because whatever we are, our kids will be also. I can remember a situation when I was an AP, 1994, I'm dating myself, where we had a minor change in our schedule and the teachers freaked out. That sort of attitude will not help us win in the coming year. The F is all about being focused. There are gonna be distractions as we move forward. Regardless of the chaos, we have to be focused on the plan, focused on the metrics that we use to determine whether or not we're moving forward. And finally, the T is for being tenacious. So a quick review: S is for strategic, O is for optimistic, F is for focused, and the T is for tenacious. The resilience literature is overwhelmingly clear that tenacity is key to overcoming obstacles and overcoming adversity. And when I say be tenacious, I don't mean be rude or mean. I'm talking about being determined, persistent, and consistent in our efforts. Now, soft is the big picture, S-O-F-T. Let's go into the detail work. Now, we're gonna feel like we've got a million things to do, but here are some key areas, key domains that we need to focus on. We call it SAME. SAME stands for social, academic, and moral education. The social domain deals with how members of the school community behave. The academic domain deals with how members of the school community engage in teaching and learning. And the moral domain deals with what members of the school community believe. So we have behavior, we've got academic practices, and we have belief systems. All of these things have to be addressed within a culture of distributed leadership, which means we are all on the same page. In each of these environments, each of these domains, there are things that teachers or adults need to focus on and things that students need to focus on or be taught. Now, the social domain deals with behavior. We need to clearly communicate and overtly model the behaviors we desire, whether we're in a traditional classroom or a virtual classroom. It's very important that we model what we want our kids to be. In other words, we need to be what we want them to become. Don't be rude. Your attitude matters, and kids can tell if you want to be there. So make sure that you take the right disposition and the right behaviors into the virtual environment. In terms of nonverbal communication in the virtual environment, kids don't realize that others can actually see them and make a determination how they feel. So one neat little activity we can do with kids is to talk about nonverbal communication. What is this child communicating? What about this teenager? Again, the disposition or the behaviors that you bring to the learning environment non-verbally matter. The academic domain deals with teaching and learning. So on the one hand, for teachers, we're talking about pedagogy. How can we make the virtual classroom more engaging? But on the other side, we've got the academic practices that kids bring to the learning environment, whether it's traditional or virtual. And a lot of kids simply are not used to the virtual environment when it comes to classrooms. The moral environment deals with our beliefs. Social emotional learning is not just for kids. So for the adults and the kids in our schools, we need to think about, well, what attitudes do you take to the virtual classroom and the traditional classroom? How might those attitudes impact your behavior? And how might your attitudes and behaviors impact achievement? A lot of kids, my nephews included, take a gaming mindset to the virtual classroom, and that simply does not work. It's not appropriate. Again, what's your virtual disposition? Do you bring energy to the learning environment? This is something that we need to talk to kids about and adults. So, quick review for the macro and the micro efforts that we place or put forth in our schools next year. We've got SOFT, soft, and SAME, same. When we're moving forward with everything that's different about our schools and the way we're going to do business next year, it's important for us as adults to focus on the whole point. Like, what's the purpose? What's our purpose in terms of starting the new year? Why are we here? Well, it's my opinion that we're here to help kids achieve their dreams. It's important that kids see school as a means or road toward their ultimate dreams. So I decided to share with you some thoughts from my former students. These are all kids from a relatively tough background, loving families, of course, but maybe different than your traditional families. These kids are going to tell you their dreams, and I want you to focus on the second young man. His name is Franklin, and Franklin's going to tell you his dream. Let's take a look.
My dream is to become an aerospace engineer or a civil engineer.
My dream is to go into the military and become a mechanical engineer. My dream is to become an architect.
My dream is to be a very successful pediatrician.
My dream is to be a judge or a singer. Graduate with honors. Want to go to University of Virginia. I want to be a basketball player. When I retire, I want to be an engineer.
My dream when I grow up is to be a speech pathologist,
To be a veterinarian.
and architectural engineer.
My dream is to be a Navy SEAL.
This is our future right here.
Sorry about that interruption, but I'm an old teacher. Stuff happens in the classroom. Franklin, the second young man, said to us, I want to go into the military and be a mechanical engineer. And years later, I get an invitation in the mail from Franklin. It's from the United States Naval Academy. And Franklin, who wanted to be a mechanical engineer, achieved that dream. And to me, that's the point of education. And that's why we're here in the first place. So I want to thank you for stopping by. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks a lot.